Welcome back to another episode of Trigger Warning. I'm your host, Kim Osorio.
Hi guys, I am TT. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's jump right into it.
Let's jump into it. I haven't seen you, I feel like. I know we did the last episode.
Yeah.
And we saw each other, but we didn't really get to catch up.
No, I mean, it's crazy because I've been in basketball season.
Oh.
And my son made the semifinals. And he lost in the game before the championship, double overtime by 1 point.
Aww.
I was so sad. And you know how you feel like so sad for your kid?
Yes.
You want to cry? Because
Yes.
you could see on their face. Like my son has been working so crazy.
We talked about this.
Like he's been training every day. This is like his regimen. He does practice after school. Then on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, he goes to the rec for an additional 3 hours and just
That's a
does
lot.
runs. I know, it's crazy. He does runs where he goes from court to court to court just playing against different kids, right? And then he comes home and he does additional physical conditioning training with his conditioning coach.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yep. Then he does his tutoring with his tutor and stuff like that. I don't pressure him to do it, but he sets his own schedule up. He has his own tutorers. He has his own conditioning coaches, his own skill coaches. Like when I tell you, he loves this game. And so I was like, at first I'm like, okay, let me see if this is going to hold up. And that's kind of been his schedule. And it's crazy because he woke up, he came home yesterday, and he didn't have practice. And he's like, I got to go to the rec. So he went to the rec.
Yeah.
He did tutoring early, and then he went to the rec for 3 hours. He got home at 9:30. I was like, bro, come on.
I mean, shout out to him and his team for making it that far. You know, we've had this conversation about our sons in basketball, how exciting it is. My son is also in basketball. He's 15. He's a freshman in high school. He loves it. I love that he loves it. But his dedication ain't like that.
Oh, no.
He's playing for fun, which is good, which is okay. It's all I ask for. He's playing for fun because I've tried to take him to serious trainers, and the boy will be like, I can't do it.
He don't want to do it.
He like, I'm not doing all this. I'm not doing it. So, I just got off the phone with my very good friend who was trying to get me to come with her somewhere, and instead of going to his game, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not missing his game.
Yeah.
And it's not about. It is about being there for my son. I want y'all to know that. But it's really because I have the best time at the games. Like me and that mom crew.
It's fun.
That's our time.
Yes, it is very fun.
To be like big kids. So much so that my son actually told me to stop coming to the games. Has anyone ever had their child tell them not to come to the game?
Well, my son always tells me to be quiet. He doesn't like me yelling because I'm always coaching go faster.
I've been told. So one day, I don't know if I talked about this, but a couple weeks ago, Corey was at the foul line. And look, I toned it down. I absolutely toned it down. So my son is at the foul line and the team is up 20 points. So we are up. So we are laughing and having a blast in the stands, me and the moms and some of the dads. And, he can hear us apparently, right there. Apparently I'm too loud. My Bronx is very loud, so he can hear. And Corey's thing is, after a game, he'll be like, Mom, are you going to get me Chick-fil-A or whatever? So he's at the foul line, and as he's making the shots, I'm like, that's good for a 12-piece. Yeah, let's go. That's good for French fries. Yeah, that's a shake, right? And as he's moving through the court, I'm saying these things, but they were winning.
And you're embarrassing the
winning.
living crap out that poor kid.
So I'm having a blast with the moms. The moms are cracking up at how we're doing it. And after the game, he comes over to me we got a problem. He came over to me my son has never come to me before. On some don't ever do that again.
That was,
I felt so bad. But then I had to tell him, watch how you talk to me. We just both got Bronx on each other. I was like, watch how you talk to me.
That's my son would say, there goes that parent thing. You want to, when you do something out of line and you be like, watch how you talk to me, my son would be like, oh, wait, there's the parent thing. And I'm like, well, you're right. Because sometimes, I give him space to express himself without trying to do the parent thing, because sometimes we can be wrong. You know what I mean?
And I was wrong that day, and I apologized to him afterwards. I did. I was wrong, and as a parent and as, you know, a mom to like kids who are coming into their adulthood, really, I accept the fact that I can be wrong. But watch how you talk to me. I don't care. You're my child. Watch how you talk to me. And don't tell me this in front of people. And other moms were texting me that night. They were like, is Corey still mad at you? I'm like, he's fine. Like, first of all, we left the game. Once he got over it, I got him some damn Chick-fil-A, and he was fine.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, my son, he doesn't like, you know, they're at that age where it's like they want you to play your position. Don't talk too much. Don't talk too loud. Don't be up in their business. It's just chill. Like he tells me, just chill. So I try to, like, you know, because he's like the type of kid. He's an only child, but he loves to have like his teammates and stuff over. He's a natural leader,
which is great.
I will say that.
Yes.
Like, he's the kid that wants the whole team to come over. He's building the brotherhood, and he does it on his own without people telling him to do that, which it shows me like he really has a different type of leadership, quality about him. And so like when his friends and stuff come over, it's like, Mom, don't bother us. Don't come in my room. Don't be like, you need something. Like, just chill. And so, like, I've kind of learned his personality, and he just likes you to be chill. Now, at the games, I do, like you, enjoy watching him play.
Are you yelling at the ref? Do you yell at the ref?
Yes.
I stopped yelling at the ref.
I don't yell at the refs enough to where it's, like, obnoxious. Like, there's some calls I'd be like, yo, come on. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Call it both ways. But, like, for the most part, I let him figure it out because he's very competitive.
Yeah.
Like, and if he doesn't touch that wood, like, literally, like, I'm surprised they went into double overtime. He didn't come out the game not once.
That's great.
And I was, like, so surprised of how he was not tired.
Right.
Because they were going bucket for bucket. One of those games where it was like, oh, my God. And when they lost, and they had beat that team twice. So in the before the playoffs, they beat them twice. And I know how, like, devastated he was because that Friday, the game was Saturday, that Friday he worked out with his skills trainer. Then he stayed on campus and ran runs with the college kids. And I was like, and I kept telling him, like, yo, you got a game tomorrow. Like, don't overplay yourself. Your body still needs to rest, and you need proper sleep and all of that stuff. But he gets into this, like, and this is why I don't bother him. He gets into this, like, mindset of, like, that's the way he has to, like, go at it. And I'll be trying to explain that to his dad. Like, his dad was like, well, you know, he needs 2 weeks of rest after this season was a long season. Because my son literally plays basketball all year round.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you know, he's like, we're going on vacation next week. He's like, yo, he needs 2 weeks to just rest his body. And I said that to him. I'm like, yo, like, you just need to rest. Because, you know, he broke his foot. I told you that, right? He fractured his foot. He was playing on a fractured foot. It was like all of these injuries he had this year. And he's young. He's only 14. Obviously, he heals a lot quicker than someone like us. But I'm like, so yesterday I'm like, yo, you just chill for like the next 2 weeks and you can get back on your regimen. And he's like, no, I cannot. Like, and so I'll be trying to explain to his dad, if that's the way like he feels about the game, I don't think we should try to like put limits on him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm the type that's more like, I'm not gonna put him in a box. If he feels like he needs to be touching that wood at the rec, let him do it. It's not bothering nobody. He's a straight A student. He's like a good kid. I'm like, and that's what he loves. Let him do it. Like,
it's good that they have these outlets. And I think sports is so important when you're growing up. Now, speaking of sports,
but can I ask you this though?
Sure.
Like, are you one of those parents who like push your kids to do certain sports because you're trying to live out your dream? Because I know there are parents that do that.
So, yes. Yes, I am one of those parents, proudly.
Really?
Yes. But at a certain point, right? The kids learn what they like.
Yeah.
So I put Corey in basketball. I played basketball when I was, in the 8th grade or whatever. I made sure that he went into basketball. But I think musically, right, like I've started my daughters in piano at 4 years old. I had them in dance. I danced, but, I stopped dancing. Like, I used to do choreography. I stopped when I was, like, 19. It was my first job. Like, my first real job was a hip-hop, like, dance cheerleading coach for Millbank. So, like, I did this stuff with my kids, but then at a certain point when they expressed, like, not being interested in it anymore, like, I let them, and I did ice skating. I always wanted to be a figure skater. I thought I was Dorothy Hamill.
Yeah.
Like, so I did all of that. I was like, you're
but
doing this, you're doing that,
it sounds to me like you expose them to things, not that you try to live your childhood through them.
Well, I did, but a lot of the things that I exposed them to came out of the interest that I had in these things, right? Because I didn't like take my kids and say like, look at all this stuff you could do. What would you like to do? I was like, no, you're gonna do dance, you're gonna sing, you're gonna do piano, you know, until they pick it up and they start to, because I put Corey in piano too. He could not stand it. And so like after a little while, I was like, he's just not a natural. Like Kiana's fingers on the piano, they like do something else. And she hasn't taken lessons in years, but she's still very good. It was something that was natural and in her, and she took to it.
Yeah.
My son, couple months, I was like, I can't do this no more. It's hurting my heart to watch his fingers he's not getting it.
Yeah.
He couldn't get the piano thing.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that. I think for me, like, I put him in everything. I put him in baseball. I put him in soccer. I put him in tennis. I put him in hockey. Like, I just basically kind of was the parent that's like, hey, what do you want to take this week?
do? Right.
Like, look at this. You want to do that? I had him in drums. He did the drums for a while, and he did that. I think it was a saxophone, and then he stuck with the drums up until I want to say
I love percussion. I love that.
I don't want to say maybe 6th or 7th grade. He stuck with the drums because I have video of middle school of him playing the drums at the concerts. You know, the concerts they had, and he started DJing.
I love that.
He started DJing the Christmas parties and stuff like that, and then DJ Enough was his teacher. So DJ Enough would come
Shout
over
out to Enough.
and teach him how to DJ, but he does that as recreational fun. And then he started like playing with the keys and producing and rapping and making songs, and I was like, okay, that's cute.
I think us being in this business it does give them a little bit of an edge, a little advantage to the things that they can be exposed to, right? Like, because my son always asks me, how do you know these people?
Yeah.
And I'm always like, well, this is what I used to do. But he doesn't really pay attention to what I do professionally.
Yeah.
So when I know someone or I do an interview and he's like, how do you know that person?
Yeah.
So it's just something that they just always kind of have seen in the background, like, oh, my mom knows this one or that one. Like, or people will call my phone and it's kind of like they're looking at me like, how do you know, I never really exposed them to my career, but they knew of certain things because of what I did.
Yeah. And I think for me, letting him choose, and then, obviously basketball is a thing that stuck, and he wants to now try out for volleyball, and I'm like, great.
Yeah, that's good.
Try out for it all. But, I think music was just naturally something he gravitated to, because obviously me being in the business, his father being in the business, being around music all the time. But I don't see that's the thing that's going to stick, because he doesn't take music as seriously as he takes
basketball. Right. Well, my son doesn't even listen to music. I'm like, Corey, do you know this song? And the girls who are very much into music, right? Both of them, my daughter works for a marketing firm, and then the younger one sings. They always tease their brother. They're like, he don't know anything about music.
Does she want to be a professional singer? An artist?
So. Yeah. She is an artist.
Yeah.
She's an artist. Like,
so are you putting her out there, or
we are taking care of what she needs to take care of first. 'Cause I want her to finish school, right? Yeah. And then I think I will. Like, she's gone to the studio. She's done some things. I've shown her videos to some people. Like, she always kind of had something in her. Even when she was really young, people would kind of call me and be like, how, I saw that video of hers. It's incredible, right? Like, she sings, but she also is very, she just has this knack for talent, right? And she can, like, she'll wipe her whole social media like a celebrity. Like, she'll wipe it and then start it over. So she did that very young. Like, she had built a following. She had like 40,000 followers on TikTok before it was TikTok. It was Musical.ly. And she used to do these videos. And she just like got all these followers. I'm like, how you get all these followers? People were following her because of her look, because of the things she was doing. She was only like 7, 8 years old. Wow. And then she just deleted the page.
Yeah, that's what these kids does. My son does the same thing. He just deletes it, and then, he used to run a TikTok page where he used to do sports stats. And it would go viral, and people would be like,
they used to that. It's a whole different world with these kids. They're used to this viral lifestyle, figuring a your post gets a million views. They're like, oh, whatever.
They know how to do that. And then I would be like, can you run my page?
They'll tell me like, oh, you need to, when you do a post, Mom, do a post and then do this and then choose this, and then I'm like, I can't do all of that. Like, that sounds like a lot of work. But they know the algorithm. And you gotta be like, when the algorithm hits, I know they'd be like, when the algorithm, you need to do this at that time, and blah, 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 blah. Their minds are trained for that. Yeah, because that's how they came up. And I think it's interesting. Also,
but my son, he does not like when I post him. I am not allowed to post him.
Kiana too.
And I respect that about him. If I post him, it has to be pre-approved. I cannot post his face. I have to block things out.
Same thing with my kids. I don't, except for my older daughter. My older daughter doesn't matter, but my younger daughter, I cannot post her. She will be like, you have me posted on your page, take it down.
Take it down. My son will be like, take it down.
Why? She's like, you posted that, take it down.
Yeah, my son is very much like that, and I respect it. Right. I'll be like, all right.
I do too. I mean, I want enough of. We have to talk about the Super Bowl. We have to talk about the Super Bowl. We can't. I have to get into it. I'm like, wait. I don't want us to lose time. I feel like, I don't know. Do you feel like this? Do you feel like there's so much to talk about with the Kendrick performance, or no?
Oh, the Kendrick performance was amazing. I think he did an incredible job.
Okay, because I feel like there's so much to talk about with it, because people are talking about it right now. There's a lot of people who are saying it wasn't as good as they thought it was going to be. Like, there's a lot of dialogue online, people debating how they feel about Kendrick's performance. So you loved it.
I enjoyed it, but most importantly, I think what I loved the most about it was just the message. Like, I think the people who are like, they didn't get the message. Like, from start to the end, the visuals, like, he's so strategic on how he does things. Like, from when he opened up with the revolution will be televised, when he said this is bigger than music, like, from having Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, doing this performance during Black History Month in front of the president of the United States of America, having the American flag on the backs of brown folks, Black and brown folks with the American flag. It was just so strategic, from the freestyle song to like the songs that he performed. It was just like a moment for Black culture, and I think Kendrick just delivered the message. And so for those of people who just like, oh, well, he should have done, more hype songs, you missed the message. Because he was on par with what he was trying to get across. And it wasn't like, I'm going to just dance and do the biggest hits. No, I'm going to educate y'all in the process.
I loved that he did that. I did. I really appreciated it. I think Kendrick has always been this artist that's super artistic, right? You can dig and get all the Easter eggs in his performance. I'm watching this online. They're saying like, oh, did you see this? Did you catch this? I love that about Kendrick. But if I'm being honest, the thing that I really loved about his performance was that he trolled at the Super Bowl. So I'm looking at this different. Like, that was petty. And I appreciated it, because Drake said what his line about the Super Bowl, whatever, And he actually trolled him. That was really some stuff that was insider for us, by us, right? Like, it was super insider. So, like, the majority of people that are watching and they're seeing this, they're not really picking up on, I think, what's going on just with the Drake beef. Yes, the entire country knows about the Kendrick and Drake beef. But that was petty. Like, him being out there, like, say Drake.
Yeah.
Say Drake.
Yeah.
I heard you like him young. Now, look.
In the lawsuit part.
I do think the lawsuit part, the say Drake, I love. I just can't, I can't get that out of my head. I love that because I felt like that was really bringing some hip hop stuff to the Super Bowl. Not really caring, because I think the critique that, you know, I was debating somebody that night, and the critique that he was saying was like, well, it's the Super Bowl. It's supposed to be Michael Jackson, Prince, Beyonce, big. You're supposed to do more. And I said, this was some insider hip hop stuff. Mm-hmm. So I appreciated the trolling, and I appreciated, and I want to say this because I do think the Drake beatdown, I do have an issue with that, right? With the way that the community is doing it. But I feel like, you know, Kendrick had to just, you know, with the whole game console.
But Drake kind of self-inflicted that.
No, I know, but I'm saying
down.
Like it's not so much about Kendrick. I don't have the issue with Kendrick. See, I love what Kendrick did. I love that he did that at the Super Bowl. I love the hidden messages. I love the game control, you know, from the Super Bowl to the game over in the end. The way he did all of that I thought that was brilliant. Yeah. And I thought it was artistic, and it was on brand with how Kendrick does things. The problem I have is more so with the way people are responding to the Drake thing, right? So, like, I don't want it to be something that is so cancelable, right? Where people are looking at Drake now on some, like, get out of here, we don't care. Like, you know, I feel like that's mean.
Yeah, but
it's mean. But I do love what he did at the Super Bowl, and I did appreciate the
But it's
petty.
mean because he lost. But this is what people have to realize. Kendrick Lamar out-strategized Drake every step of the way. From the Juneteenth concert to how he released the songs, he out-strategized Drake every step of the way. Let's be clear. Drake wanted this smoke.
No, he did. He asked for it.
He started this smoke.
Super Bowl, and he got Super Bowl.
He started this battle. He did. I remember in the beginning when he thought he was winning. Yeah. He kept going.
Yeah, he kept going.
He kept dropping. He kept going. He kept digging up information. He kept saying Kendrick was a wife beater. His kid wasn't his. He kept dropping records. He dropped the AI record trolling him.
Yeah, he was doing all of that.
He did all of that. And Kendrick stepped back.
He trolled him at the Super Bowl. It was crazy.
Like, he stepped back. He re-strategized. Even me, I was like, you're not going to make me not like Drake anymore. Like,
right.
But what really I think people have the issue with is when he went full-on Karen with the lawsuits.
Yeah, of course.
Like, he went full-on Karen with the lawsuits.
But the lawsuit
even before the Super Bowl, your team releasing a statement about UMG think that this is masquerading. Like, it was a lot. You lost the battle. Honestly, for me, the Drake part was just, I didn't really care about that part. I didn't really care about that as much. I love the overall message that he's like, you're not going to steal from our culture like America has done and continues to do. This is Black excellence personified. This country was built off the backs of Black folks.
I'm
blickety Black, and we are blickety Black.
But he always
and
does
feel that.
To me, I love that about Kendrick. He always does that. He never has strayed from that messaging, which is to me commendable as an artist. But he was trolling Drake at that Super Bowl. That shit was more about Drake. That Super Bowl was more about Drake.
No, I think it was bigger than Drake. I think it was bigger than Drake. He definitely gave Drake the business, but the performance from overall perspective, aesthetically,
it's beautiful.
Samuel L. Jackson, the flags. There's some things that I go back to, and I'm like, oh, dang, I didn't even catch that. Like,
yeah,
just
that's
the
what I like.
messaging
I like
of
that
it.
he did that, even though I think that it's strategy, right? Like, they all put it together, they put it out
From
there.
the pants he wore.
Yeah, he did it
like,
in some bell bottoms. He
Yeah.
told Drake in some bell bottoms.
But the
which
bell
is kinda
bottoms
crazy.
signified the Black Panther movement, the black
yeah, the
men.
old school, exactly.
Yeah, the old school men who went to the black war veterans
Yes.
who wore the bell bottoms.
Yes.
So it was just
It was
like
very, very
it was
symbolic.
very
The
symbolic.
symbolism was
yeah.
there.
So it was very like it was very symbolic, and it was an educational piece. And I think it was just brilliant the way he did this. And for me, I don't think like Drake is canceled and he's over. I think what Drake needs to do, and I said this before, and I said it on this podcast too. I've been said Drake needs to focus on the music, and I said after the battle, I wouldn't even, when he started putting out the hip hop records and he did the records with Thug and all of that, I was like, he needs to take a break from that. He needs to go back in his lane of R&B, switch it up a minute, put some fire R&B joints out for the ladies, and then come back to bops. Now he's doing it with the Party Next Door album. He's dropping Valentine's Day and all that stuff. Now he's doing it, but I just think he's too late. I think he got too emotional. He thought because he was such a global superstar, and Kendrick, I think he felt like Kendrick was just so one-dimensional. He thought he was going to win that battle by a landslide, and it did not work out for him.
I don't think he thought he was going to win by a landslide.
He didn't think Drake was going to come with a bop. He didn't think Drake
might not have thought Kendrick
was
going to come with
Kendrick was
like
going.
Us, right?
Yeah,
I will concede on that, but I don't think. I think he knew that was no easy task. I think what Drake was trying to do was elevate himself to where Kendrick is, because he wouldn't have did it like that if he wouldn't have known that Kendrick was that dude. So I think Drake was trying to elevate himself on some lyrical stuff, on some like,
I could step in the ring. And that's what I'm saying. I appreciated Drake for stepping in the ring and boxing. I appreciated that part from him, even though I knew this was not going to work out for him well at the end.
Right.
I was just like, oh, he's in there. He's got the gloves on. He's putting the Vaseline. And then I was like, oh, slow down. When he started doing the AI and the performative stuff, I was like,
doing
okay,
a lot.
You're being too emotional. Like you're dropping too much too quickly, and like you're not.
But he didn't think Kendrick was gonna keep up. Right?
Yes.
But Kendrick was thinking first. It's kind of like the whole Ether thing, right?
Yeah.
Like when Jay put the Takeover out and then people waited, they counted Nas out before, but it was like, sometimes you got to sit back and say like, hold on, let me think for a second. Let me think about how I'm going to do this.
But Kendrick said in his interview with Ebro on Apple Music and Nadeska, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah.
He said that his intention was to put the culture first. Like his intention was to go back to his roots of like battle rapping. Like this is what we do. And he was very intentional about that. He said it in an interview. Like he just wanted to just show what this is. And I think Drake just allowed him to out-strategize him every step of the way, and and then he just went Karen. Like he just went Karen.
He did, and listen, but I did appreciate the petty. I did appreciate Kendrick. I love that side of him. We know, right? Because he is this person who puts this symbolism in music and has been doing this for a very long time and has always really been about the culture, hands down. But I don't think we never saw Kendrick being petty. And this was some petty stuff that he did. Because pulling his exes out too, the Serena Williams and the SZA stuff, I need to talk about that. Because I think that was great. I loved it. We loved the moment of Serena. And I wanted to ask you about that. I had thought about this before because I feel like this is something that a lot of men in hip-hop do. Right? Drake is the biggest one. You break up with someone, he goes to your ex and does something with her.
But I don't think
is this off limits?
I didn't view it from that lens, right? I really didn't. I viewed it from...
You didn't think that he was trolling him with the exes?
I viewed it... No, I didn't even correlate SZA with Drake because that was just like... It's not such a public relationship. It really wasn't. It was just like some under the rug type thing. Serena Williams, I really put that on. That's some L.A. Compton. That's some L.A. because he literally said, don't you ever speak about Serena.
Right.
And Serena is from Compton. I felt, to me, I didn't even look at it in that moment, oh, that's Drake's ex. I looked at it like, yo, this some L.A., this some real Compton. We about to show you, this a culture moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you always talking about Serena in your interviews. You talk about Serena. And I'm about to show you, we Compton, we standing together. That's some L.A. That was some straight up L.A. That's how I, like, looked at that. But, you know, I see people on the internet saying, oh, she still got Drake on her mind. No.
I don't think she got Drake on her mind, but I think as an ex, you always got that little sort of, I could get him back a little bit.
No, I think it was really for some, I'm riding out for the West.
Yeah, but she knew. She was riding for the West, but she knew she was being petty too, which is great.
I just felt like that was more of like, I felt like that was more of a West Coast personified ride or die.
But it wouldn't have been that if not for the Drake factor. I get it. It's wonderful that it's the West Coast standing together, Compton, that she was, dealt with what she dealt with when she was crip walking at the U.S. Open?
Yeah.
Great. But it was the Drake factor that made it, that gave it the edge, that gave it the virality, really. Like, a lot of this stuff is strategic, and I think it's smart in how Kendrick has decided to do it, because he's moving the needle where it needs to be moved, especially with the culture, my generation, and with the culture and what they are accustomed to right now in terms of consumption. So, like, this is how the audience has to consume the messaging. So the bigger message, right, that Kendrick was putting out there would have, I think, could have, I should say, not would have, but could have been lost had it not been for the little nuances of the beef that made this messaging, you know what I'm saying, like, gave it a bigger platform, right? I think Kendrick is that smart. Like, I think that
I disagree. I feel like
he put it all into motion, and he continues to do it knowing that he's coming behind it with some real stuff. It's kind of like when you give your kids broccoli, right, and they don't want to eat it, so you got to cut it up real small and put it in the good stuff. Like, that mentality
I don't think the messaging would have got lost if it wasn't for the Drake factor.
He wouldn't have been at the Super Bowl if it wasn't for the Drake factor.
If it wasn't
hands
for
down, he wouldn't have. Jay-Z would not have picked Kendrick if it wasn't for the Drake factor.
If the song wasn't as big as it was.
It wouldn't have been as big as it was if it wasn't for the Drake. The whole beef, the whole Not Like Us, like, as great as that song is, you take away the Drake factor and you don't have the same impact on the culture that you have.
I disagree with you. I think the message, the climate that we live in right now, and the whole conversation surrounding Black Americans, surrounding DEI, and all the things that is happening in the community as it pertains to Black people, I think that message would have went without Drake. Period. Because of the climate that we're in.
He wouldn't have even been on the stage.
But the record was so big, culturally big. Now the record probably wouldn't have been made if the beef didn't happen. But the record is big because it is a culturally relevant record. Everybody loved the record. Not everybody loved the record because of Drake. No, everybody loved the record. The record is just a moment. It is a whole West Coast moment.
I'm saying that moment is lost without the Drake factor. Like, people put out great records every day, right? Kendrick has been making great music his entire career from the Section 80. Kendrick has been phenomenal. And a lot of people have seen that and said it and followed it from the inside hip-hoppers, listening to him, studying what he's doing. He's been phenomenal. This Drake thing put him on a whole nother level. This battle, this saying, hey, Okay, I'm going to really show y'all what I'm about. Let me show y'all my petty. I think that whole thing, and I think he knows that, and I think he understands. I think he's that smart to be like, I'm going to take this and ride it so that I can give y'all what I need to give y'all. Because unfortunately, it's what our generation and the generation behind us is what we understand. We understand this culture more from even the controversy that's in it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the beef and the stuff, like it's almost like we don't even put the stamp on people until they deal with some adversity like this. That's just how it's been. The greats have had to. When someone is great and we see them in that great top spot, we're like, okay, you're great. But we start throwing stuff at them. Like, well, let me see how great you are. Go ahead. Let me see if you can handle this. And I think when the Drake thing presented itself to him, it was a moment. He had to deal with it. He dealt with it accordingly, and he triumphed in it. But this Not Like Us level doesn't get there without that moment of him having to face and deal with that battle. I don't think so. And I mean,
because the battle was started by Drake.
I get it.
But I'm not understanding. Like, it was a culturally relevant song.
I know, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't get to the level that it's at right now at the Super Bowl. If he had just dropped Squabble Up, there's no, and Squabble Up is dope. If he had just dropped Squabble Up, there's no beef, there's nothing, it's his album, there's no Drake factor. You think Kendrick would have been at the Super Bowl?
No, what I'm saying to you is
by himself, holding it down, no guests, just SZA and Serena? Not even close.
What I'm saying to you, though, is my point I'm trying to make is, regardless of the Drake factor or not, the message still would have been received. Whether he performed Not Like Us or not, I think the message in his performance still would have been
I think the message
received.
is amplified, is what I'm saying. The message is amplified by the beef. Mm-hmm. And I think, unfortunately, that's how we're culturally trained to take in messages. We need to be fed with negativity in order to.
I'm not going to say not all. Some.
Okay. I mean, I'm looking at the masses. I'm looking at even right now, like when we're consuming content, you know. Mm-hmm. And I said this when Irv passed. I said let's honor this man. Let's not show any light to any negativity around it, because it's just what it is. And culturally, listen, I'm dealing with that just in terms of what I consume, mm-hmm. because I'm tired of consuming so much negativity. Mm-hmm. But it's like my body, my trauma is trained to, like, when I see or hear something, a beef or whatever, I'm like, I need to click on it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm drawn to that. That's that's trauma. That's what it comes from. That's what I'm used to. That's what I consume. And I think as a culture, especially in hip hop, like, we're so used to that. Mm-hmm. We give our energy to that. And the way we gave our energy to that beef is very telling. But I'm saying what Kendrick did, I commend, because he took that energy and he changed it. He turned the tides, and now he's trying to shine a light. I think Game Over was like, I'm done now. Mm-hmm. I done gave you the Super Bowl, the Grammys, everything I gave y'all for 6, 7, 8 months.
But I think I'm
done now. I'm gonna give y'all some positivity.
But I think his messaging throughout this has always remained the same. It's bigger than music for him. It's about Black people. Mm-hmm. He feels like Drake is a colonizer of the culture. He's literally rapped about that. Mm-hmm. He's literally rapped about Black oppression and racism, and like, it's bigger for Kendrick. Like, his whole performance was on Juneteenth Day.
But I get it. But it's been like that for Kendrick. But he's been fighting that same battle the whole career.
So I'm saying that messaging would have still been received whether he did that or whether he did Not Like Us at the Super Bowl or not. I feel like the performance was so artistic, and that message on so many levels was presented.
A question for you. Do you remember Kendrick's Grammy performance from 2016?
Yes.
You remember that performance?
I remember it.
I don't remember us talking about it, not us being me and you, but just like as, consumers, I don't remember us talking about the symbolism.
So what do you remember about it? Tell me what you remember about it.
I remember thinking how great Kendrick was performance-wise.
Specifically
right?
the messaging in it, though. What did you remember?
Barely anything. That's my point. Barely anything. I'm like, okay, I knew it was artistic. I know he did some fly stuff. I can think about when he did all right at the awards show.
But do you know
I can't remember any of that.
But do you know what was happening at that time?
In 2016?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because I feel like sometimes people choose to pay attention to, it's a choice to pay attention to things that matter, right? Like when
that was right before the election. That was right before, right?
But I'm saying like sometimes it's a choice to want to hear the message, right? Because there's some people who watched the Super Bowl and didn't get the message at all because they can care less about the fight of Black Americans, right? They can care less about oppression that Black and brown folks face. So they'll be oblivious to anything that's put in front of them because they don't care to feel empathy for that community. So I say that to say is like sometimes people choose what they want to pay attention to or what they don't want to pay attention to because sometimes it is more, I don't want to say comforting, but more, it's easier to just sit back and not pay attention and not, because then you will have to be like, oh, we have to do something about it, right? So some people just choose not to see it, right? And so that's the point that I'm trying to say is like the message would still be there regardless of the beef. It's who chooses to pay attention.
I get it. I think I'm more so, and the reason why I bring up his Grammy performance, right? Because I'm thinking 2016, it was a great performance. Obviously, we were about to enter into an election. We were in an election year in 2016, right? That was the first year Donald Trump became elected for president. And he had an amazing performance and he had a lot of messaging. But we did not talk about it the way we are going to talk about this Super Bowl for years to come. And that is my point about the juxtaposition of what he did with the beef that he had with Drake, right? And the messaging that he was trying to make with the overall performance. So that's all I'm saying. It's kind of like the yin and the yang, right? It's the broccoli and the chicken or what broccoli mixed in. It's giving people what he knows is the only thing that's going to wake them up. And then kind of saying, now let me show you what I want to show you, which is unfortunate, right? Because he has been showing us this for a very long time. I think that was my point more so with the Grammy performance. I know we probably should move topics, but I could talk about the Kendrick thing all day. I love Kendrick. He's my favorite artist. I definitely put him in like higher up on my list. Every step he takes, I'm like, Kendrick is in my top 5, like for sure. And other people start to drop down. And I feel like because longevity, right, now we talk about a lot of the greats and he's kind of like the span of his career has surpassed a lot of people.
He's won Grammys,
yeah,
Pulitzer
Prize. He got it for Damn.
Yeah, so like he's
done some things that other rappers haven't done.
Yeah, he's done some incredible things, and so has Drake. And I don't think that this battle stops Drake from being Drake. I think he continues to put out music, but he just needs to make hits, and he needs to stop suing people.
Now let's talk about trolling. Do you think Jay-Z was trolling a little bit by having Kendrick perform at the Super Bowl?
No, I think that Kendrick really earned that spot this year.
You don't think it was a little petty on Jay-Z too? It was a little petty on Jay-Z too.
I disagree. I mean, I honestly think that Kendrick...
Do you think Jay-Z legitimately was like, Kendrick is an amazing artist, I'm going to put him on the Super Bowl?
That run he had this year was amazing. You're talking about somebody
but you're going to say Jay-Z didn't have something to...
I don't think so. I think that...
You don't think they had a Let's Be Petty meeting?
No. I think that Kendrick deserved it. I'm glad that he got it. I'm glad that he took Black History Month to give us a Black History lesson in front of the President of the United States of America. And shout out to Jalen Hurts, because, listen, boy, you fine as hell. Jesus, Lord. I was watching that game like, Lord, this guy is so fine.
Wow.
And he is gorgeous. But
wow.
I loved his story. Listen, my son is a huge Patrick Mahomes fan. He loves Patrick Mahomes. But the story behind Jalen Hurts, just, you know, like I told my son, it's so interesting because we had this conversation.
Right.
And then, you know, he lost his game. And I said to him, I said, you know, you never really lose when you lost.
Right.
Because there's always a lesson in the loss. And as bad as this hurts and as hard, you know, you worked for this moment and how disappointed you feel in this moment, it's never truly a loss when you get the lesson. So find out whatever this loss is teaching you so that when you get it the next time, it's so much sweeter. And I love the fact that in college, he went to the championship game and got benched. Then he went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and they lost. And he fought his way back. He had to face so much adversity to get to that moment. And to finally have it, it's such a beautiful story. And to hear his coach's story, I mean, every last one of them has such a beautiful story. And so, you know, shout out to him.
And he also has an all-female team.
And he also has an all-female management team, which is amazing. And so I'm just super happy for him. In my house, it was very divided on Sunday.
Right.
Because obviously my son was going for Patrick Mahomes. I low-key was like, Jalen Hurts, even though the Eagles is like the Giants' biggest rivalry.
Right.
You know, we don't do Eagles in our house. And then my husband's brother is in Philadelphia. Like, he's basically been there since college, and he's in his 70s now. So he's an Eagles fan. So I'm just like, deep down, like, go Eagles. It's like crazy. But I thought that was a beautiful moment for him, and I'm glad he got it with his fine ass, because he is fine.
Not with his fine. Listen.
He is fine, girl. Like, he is just like.
Once you get to that mother age, you start just letting it be known. Like, girl, I was rooting for that team because he was fine.
He is fine.
No more holding it back. Wait, I want to ask you a question. Did you see this girl? Oh gosh, how am I about to talk about a story and not know her name? The rapper. She's a rapper. She's promoting her music, but I didn't know this when I had first read the story. And the story was about her not being able, or an Uber or a Lyft driver. I'm not sure which one.
She was on my show.
Was she?
Yeah, she was on my show.
She couldn't get the Uber or Lyft.
Okay, so she was going to a pregame party. And her name is Big Dank. She's from Detroit. She was actually on a reality show I just finished up called Deb's House. She was one of the contestants on the show.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yes, she was one of the contestants on the show. And it's interesting because during filming of the show, she had to take a lot of breaks because she is morbidly obese. She's actually lost weight from when we were filming the show. Beautiful girl, can spit.
Right.
She was actually one of the ones I picked to go to the next round.
Right.
She's from Detroit. She's been rapping her whole life. Her backstory is her father died, I think, of a heart attack. If I can remember correctly. And so she put a lot of like her energy into her music. She really is a great, talented artist. So she was preparing to go to this party. She called a Lyft, a regular size Lyft, and the driver pulled up. It was like, oh, you're too big to get in a car. Basically canceled the ride because of her weight. Okay. She turned around and sued Lyft for that interaction.
Did she win?
I don't know. I think that it's just been filed, so I guess they got to go through the litigation.
I'm a woman that struggled with weight my entire life, right? I'm always on a diet. I'm always trying to get thinner. I hate that I can't wear any clothes right now because I only buy clothes when I'm at like a 20-pound less weight. It's a problem that I have. I just won't buy any new clothes. And now I can't fit them. I had to qualify that because I think if I'm a Lyft driver and I pull up and I think you're too big to get in my car, and now what was his reason? I don't know.
No, that was his reason.
I should be able to say, if you can get in my car or not. Like, rather, not just if you're overweight, like maybe if you have, you know, bags of food on you, and I'm not using the food example because she's overweight. I'm just saying, like, whatever the reason is, shouldn't I, as an Uber or Lyft driver, be able to make the decision of who can get in my car or not? And listen, I saw a lot of people online, you know, and there was a lot of sympathy for her. I understand that, right? Just as a woman who is overweight, feeling like, okay, I never want to be discriminated against, but if my hips don't fit in the seat in a plane, I'll have to buy another seat.
She said that she always takes the regular lifts, and she's always fit in those cars. But to your point, there were a lot of people saying, okay, you know, being that big is a choice. You know, like,
I should have had a choice to say who could get in my car or not. Like, I don't know what his excuse was. I don't know if he was saying she was going to weigh down the tires.
No,
I don't know.
He was just saying she was too big to get in the car. I will say this, though. I was definitely concerned during our filming because not so much of, because I'm a person who struggles with my weight too. You know that about me. Like, anyone who knows me knows that about me. I've had weight issues my entire life. I can go from, I have 3 different girls who live in my closet. Small girl, medium girl, big girl, and extra big girl.
I don't let the big girl live in my closet. That's the problem. Like, I just don't buy any clothes at the fat girl weight. I'm not doing this because I'm not going to stay here. I'm just going to wear these spandex and these jogging pants all day.
But now I'm at the point where it's manageable because I have the right doctors, I have the right people that I see, you know, because sometimes it's genetics too. Like, big people run in my family, and so that could also be a genetic thing. And I've actually have now a team of people that I work with to help me manage my weight, because that is a legit real issue for me.
But
what I was
you
saying,
manage it yourself, for yourself.
I manage it for myself. But what I'm saying for her, during the filming process, I really was concerned for her.
It's a concern.
Because she could not stand for long periods of time.
Right.
She could not move around as much as she could. And she was very young. And her father passed away because of the weight issue too. Because he was morbidly obese as well, if my memory serves me correctly. I could be wrong, but I remember her sharing that part of her story and why she decided to enter into the competition.
Right.
And so when she was rapping, she was like out of breath. You know, when you film reality TV, you have to film
multiple hours
a day. You have to be on your feet, and you have to do your takes sometimes 2 and 3 times. It's a hard, grueling process to be on reality TV. It is not as simple as you think it is. Literally, you know, because you do it, I was just like, oh my God, like I'm ready to go. Like, I can't take another take of this. Like, either get it or we're out. Like I'm out. And there were times where she would just have to continue to take breaks or sit down, or like, I remember there was one scene where, you know, trying to get fitted for outfits for performances and not having the right clothes. So it's like, being that size, for me, is really about how are you protecting your health. And I do understand that there could be big people that are overweight and are healthy.
Yeah. And you know, and listen, I want to be sympathetic to that. You know, I hope she is able to get help. I hope she's able to lose weight, because it is a health issue. But what are you suing for? That's my question. Why are you suing this man or woman? I don't know.
Because I think she said
you can't go in my car. I'm trying to understand that part of it.
I think she said because she felt discriminated against and they didn't have accommodations for her.
Okay.
You know, like when we're filming on set, like, you have to make accommodations for her. Like, if we chose her to be a part of the show, then if she needs a bigger chair.
But this is a private company.
Right. So I don't know the
I want to find out. Yeah, I want to find out
ramifications around that. But let me just say,
because I feel like it went viral and it was like a news thing, and like there was like, oh my God, that's so wrong. And I'm like, is this so wrong? Like, if you say no, like, you can't get in it's my car.
And she's a beautiful girl at heart, very beautiful girl at heart. And one of the things that I hope this doesn't do is just make her gimmicky, right?
Right.
And takes away, and takes away from
felt
the
gimmicky.
fact that this
Her
girl,
artistry.
her artistry, and she really can rap.
Right.
Like, she really can spit, and she spits with a lot of like emotion and rawness, and like, I think she's a dope artist. That's why I picked her to go to the next round. So I hope that this moment, this viral moment, doesn't take away from.
Well, she's gonna have to get an Uber account and try them, because I guess the lift wasn't. I'm not even trying to be mean. Like, God bless her. I want her to do well, succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially like me understanding weight issues.
And
but
then
like,
I saw
you can't
a video
be mad that the lift wasn't. You can't sue the. I don't know.
And then I saw a video right after that of her performing, and she fell.
See, I didn't see that.
She fell. She couldn't stand on her feet. She
didn't
fell.
See, that's a lot. Remember, there was the guy rapper who was rolling.
Big boy, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I gotta get them names and stuff.
Listen, I wish Dink the best.
rapper.
She's a beautiful girl. I had a chance
Shout
to
out to
meet
her.
her. And like I said, she has really good music, and I hope that this doesn't overshadow her artistry.
Right. I need to know what other people think. We should toss to our comments. Like, comment, let us know. Am I being insensitive? Do you guys think I'm being insensitive? Please, at Kim Osorio Media on YouTube, or you can hit TT up.
I think you have a valid point.
Am I being insensitive?
I think you have a valid point. Listen, like, it's just like you don't want somebody to come in your car who smokes, right?
Right. That's a great example. Because I didn't want to, I said food, but the fat in the food was not good. Not a good example. That's a great example.
Yeah.
If she was smoking a cigarette, right? And you said, now you can't come in here because you got that cigarette. Even if they threw the cigarette out, nope, now you got cigarette smell on you. I don't want it in my car. Shouldn't you be able to be like, no?
Right. See, I don't know what the laws are in Texas or wherever she was at. I don't know if it was in Texas or wherever Michigan or wherever she was at. But, you know, like, that's a valid point, right? Like, you know, I don't want you getting in my car overweight because I feel like you're gonna...
like I tell my mother smokes, and I always tell her, like, you can't come in here with that. Like, don't come in my car, and now it smells like smoke. I don't want any cigarette smoke in my car.
That's a valid
you know,
point.
that's a great example. I mean, I know we got to wrap, and I definitely feel like we have a lot to talk about. We always have a lot to talk about. You know what I was contemplating? Should I say how we were talking about changing our name on here? I was like, should we tell everyone that we are thinking of changing the name to this show?
And see what they say?
I guess. I mean, we should ask people what they think, or maybe... Remember, because we've been... Okay, so TT and I have been debating on our text thread, like, for the last 2 weeks over changing the name of the Trigger Warning podcast. So we're thinking about that. I don't want to shock anybody when we just show up here one week and it's a whole new name. I don't know.
I don't know. See what you guys think. Drop us a comment.
Drop us a comment. Tell us, you know, make sure you subscribe, follow, comment, like. I don't even know how to say all that. Like, comment, subscribe, talk, whatever it is that y'all do online, make sure you do that with us. Make sure you let us know what you're thinking. Make sure you let us know how we're doing. If you think I need to lose weight, no, don't do that. Don't do that in the comment. Don't do that in the comments. But, you know, like, let us know. We want to interact with you. We want to talk to you guys. And, you know, it's a Trigger Warning podcast. So, TT, last words? We got a couple more seconds before we have to wrap.
Oh, no last words. Make sure you guys keep up with us on all socials. TT Torrez, 3 T's, ORREZ. You know what we need to look for? We need a young makeup artist.
Oh, gosh.
That's what we need to
That's
put
why
out
TT
there.
has them glasses on.
Yes.
You see her with those glasses on all the time. She ain't be in Hollywood.
I just don't have makeup.
It's very hard to find makeup people.
Very
Comment.
hard.
Look for us. All right.
All right.
It's Trigger Warning Podcast.